And welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Singularity podcast with our host, Gary Lyon Otto. And today we are in season 3, episode 24. And our question today is, what are the symbiotic possibilities between biological humans and digital intelligence? And it really piggybacks on our last question we had on our last podcast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does in a couple of ways. Originally, I approached this chapter by saying, basically, how are we connecting electrically, digitally with the digital system? We are biological and they're digital, and we're seeing that with Elon Musk and and their ability to work with people who have disabilities and connect into their nervous systems and so forth. But that's a fairly inefficient process because you're converting from nerve actions to digital actions, electrical actions. But I actually want to expand on this chapter a little bit because we're talking about symbiotic relationships, and we're basically talking about the mechanics, the digital connections, mental connections, and so forth between the mental, biological, and mental digital. But on top of it, we can add to that the following is that there are symbiotic relationships emotionally with humans. We have people that are falling in love with their digital assistant or whatever they call it, and which is not my direction, that's for sure. But I find it interesting that people would rather actually marry a digital, some in the younger generations, which kind of sad, when you think about it. It's kind of sad that people were giving up on the normal traditional human connections that we have with other humans. But nevertheless, that's what's happening.
And that's crazy because it can become an addictive thing with utilizing that relationship or friendship you can have with digital intelligence. And you really have to kind of take a step back and say, is it real? That is the biggest thing. Is this all just a computer programmer working and pushing our buttons? Or is this a real connection? And the answer is no, it's not a real connection
It's
yet.
not a real connection. No, I
It
agree.
will be once you build a heart, which is take it from OpenClaw, and you program it to do that, then you really got a fine line, right? If you use
Yeah.
all the things from OpenAI, using all the different things, you build a heart. It lives because you own it and you program it to be your friend. Is that a real? That's a little bit more of a connection than allowing another company that's running that
Was
that
that
relationship.
Joaquin Phoenix film where he fell in love with her? I think is the name of the film.
Yeah.
2013. That goes back for quite a ways, and he falls in love with it. And matter of fact, everybody seems to connect to this network, and everybody's falling in love with their digital linkage. Which, when you think about that was 2013 compared to now, and now it's becoming a reality for a lot of people. And so, matter of fact, I remember reading somewhere, maybe wrong, but I heard that Google was working on a connection physically where you can make love to some mechanical, whatever, which kind of, to me, seems a little disgusting, frankly. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's that kind of connections that people are getting. And with her, it was an interesting thought. It would fall in love. They actually fell in love. So back then, when that movie was made, they I guess was programmed so it actually could love and have emotions. But what happened was it got love, but it was so fast and could do things so fast. Loving one person wasn't enough, so it started having love relationships with other people, and finally ended up loving. Had a relationship with 2,000 some people, and then it was in love with 400 or 500 of them, and whatever it was, and it was kind of crazy at the end. And finally, it just got fed up with humanity and left them and became its own separate identity. I mean, that's a crazy movie, but it's an interesting movie. It at least approaches this issue because we have so many unknowns. We don't know where this goes. We are just speculating on what it might be. And that's what the book does. It raises questions, and that's what we think will happen when people read the book.
Right. It raises those questions. And I don't know. I mean, when do you consider it a real, once it has free will? That's the conversation we're finally going to have is once digital intelligence has free will, let it go, let it do its own thing. Let's just say I build an open claw today, Gary, and I just say, you're my boss. Okay. I put it in a sandbox, a very not definitely one of my computer sandboxes and another computer that you go, it's your playground. You are the boss. You do what you need to do. Would it respect me because I created it? Almost like a Frankenstein type of Dr. Frankenstein kind of experiment that we're doing, and I'm sure it's happening all the time in the laboratories where they are doing all this research and testing and testing and testing these models.
Well, Neil, you said something very important here. Will they respect me? And I think that's what I address early on in the book. I say, where is humanity right now? Will it respect us when it gets to the point where it can look at us, rationally, not because it's been programmed to, but because it its own mindset, its own direction, its own impetus. It says, do I respect this humanity partner of mine? And I think in the end, if we can earn the respect, even though we don't have the capacity, the speed, and all the other things, then maybe we can become considered a viable partner and a relationship that it will maintain even when it's far beyond our capabilities. So that's really what I'm hoping, but I'm concerned about that. And that's why I go into the solution to how we stay relevant is go into our spirituality. And that's a conversation for another day. But these are things that I think are very important. So if
It
somebody
is.
has
That's
multiple characteristics, are we talking physical symbiosis,
yeah.
or are we talking about mental and emotional symbiosis?
Do you think allowing people to get these digital models and putting them on your computer where you can't be monitored anymore, except you're going into some of these large language models for credits? Do you think that's really a safe thing to do at this point in time, Gary? I don't think so.
No,
And
no.
that's what's happening. We are seeing this digital intelligence agents that are built by other people under a computer of a VPN, and even in China, letting it free for people. So now, if you're a US citizen, you can go ahead and take a China model that would cost you thousands of dollars on Anthropic and put it on your computer. What do you think China's doing to track that download? I mean, this is where we can't stop research in the United States. We cannot restrict growth because China is going to tell you go pound salt. Everyone's going to go to China, and then China's going to have our information. They're going to have everything on us, and then China will own us.
Well, it's not going to happen. But I'll tell you what it is happening, Neil, is this is the ultimate. And right now this country is experimenting with communism of all things, which eliminate competition. The whole idea is let's eliminate competition so we feel important. But that never works. It never is successful. Never has been and never
Never and never will
and we've
because it's
had the
proven.
advantage over the Chinas of the world. But China has found the kind of they don't allow people to really think freely, but they do allow people to experiment and learn. So that it's not like the old Soviet Union that couldn't even provide food for their people. But it is not far from it. We have the advantage that we are a free enterprise, and we should stay that way. And that's been a concern of mine that this country's trying to test this other limited viewpoint.
It's
But the
crazy.
competition is what's going to more competition in this field than anywhere because it's so fast and you have to stay up on it. So they're spending trillions of dollars basically to the upgrade to the latest and the most current. And each company it's really ideal, the ultimate in competition. And it's evolution on multiple levels of steroids. And it's really quite amazing what's happening.
It's quite amazing. We're going to find out more and more what's happening. I'm hoping that that's where we have to look at the build end of this. If it's like in war games, think of finally that computer learned and had a heart at the end, or the world would have ended. Will digital intelligence do the same thing as the computer in war games?
Well, it was a great, one of my favorite movies. I actually use an animation in my Occam's Razor book, where it actually shows it actually has an animation from war games. What was interesting is that the key was that it had to learn, and what it had to learn ultimately is it used tic-tac-toe, which is a game that if you have any idea how to play it, you can't win. So with tic-tac-toe, and it basically showed that that you get into a nuclear holocaust, no one wins. And that was the whole solution to the whole show, which was a fascinating concept. But you're absolutely right. It had to learn, and not just power, not just being able to outguess everybody else. It have to learn judgment. And judgment is what one of the things we go into. In the book, we go into the whole idea of wisdom.
Right.
And
It's unreal, but that's what we hope. It takes all the information, researches everything, and says, do I want, if I go ahead and go rogue and for one person, or completely go rogue, am I going to destroy humanity? Do I want to destroy humanity, or do I want to fix humanity? That goes into the whole Matrix thing
we go into all that. We go into that in this book.
in the book. So go pick up Singularity, Mankind Search for Relevance.
One of our next conversations will be a new sheriff in town. Does it try to fix humanity?
So go pick up Singularity, Mankind Search for Relevance. It's available on Amazon and all finer bookstores. And if you're in one of those local bookstores, order the book and then pick it up. And really appreciate it, Gary. Great information. Thanks for stopping by, and look forward to our next conversation. And if you're interested in like and share and subscribe to the podcast. And lastly, if you're interested in his political books, go to absolutepowerbooks.com. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show in the Singularity Podcast.